Well, hi campers, this is Darren with My RV Works. Welcome to another session of 10 Minutes with an RV Tech. It's during these sessions where we gather all the questions together, we throw them in a fishbowl, and we start answering them here collectively where everybody can benefit from the question and the answer. So the first question is from Eric. Eric, he has watched my video where I worked on that Lippert slide room. That's the one where I did the World War II bunkers. And so he's got that kind of a system, and he says it's out of alignment. So when it's all the way out, there's a ½ inch difference between the two sides. How do I adjust that? Okay. So how do you adjust that? Well, let me ask you a question, Eric. When it's all the way in, is there a ½ inch deviation there as well? So if there's a ½ inch deviation when it's all the way out, if the room is working correctly, not aligned, that's different. But if the room is working correctly, then it should also be a ½ inch deviation when the slide room's all the way in. And then we'll get into how to fix that. But let's say that it's perfect when it's all the way in, and it's only when it goes out that it's got the deviation in it. The first thing I would have you do is gain access to the gear packs and look to see if you have any broken teeth on those gear packs. And the idea there would be you have one actuator. Okay, and there's a couple ways those actuators work. One's hydraulic, one's an Acme screw, like a long screw thing. We call them Acme screws. A linear actuator, if you want to be fancy. And so that's the motive power that's pushing the thing in and out. And then you have right next to that linear actuator, you have a rack, and they welded a little teeth thing on it. And then on top of that is a gear pack that's turning. So all by itself, what you've got is you got the linear actuator, or the motive power, because yours might be hydraulic, and that's pushing back and forth. And then that's operating that rack that's right there. Now attached to that rack, and I'm going through this because it's going to answer the question whichever way this goes, is a square drive shaft. It's square, so you can put a tool on it and turn it if you had to. So it's a square drive shaft. And it goes to the other side, the other rack, and there's another gear pack on there, another ram with the tooth bar. The tooth bar. I'll call it the tooth bar. It's fun. And so when one rack turns, when the linear actuator is moving, it's turning the gear pack. The drive shaft's turning at the same thing. It's turning the other gear pack. So that's how everything stays in synchronization. You with me? Okay, good. All together now. So if you have a broken tooth on that side over there closer to you, I'm the linear actuator, you're the, let's say we're sitting I'm in my Lance right now, so you're in one booth, I'm in the other, we're having a conversation. So your side has a broken tooth. So as I go out, I skip a tooth, I skip a tooth, I skip a tooth. And so you can see how it's easy for it to get out of alignment. Now I'm coming back, I'm still skipping teeth, but maybe the room is kind of has a tendency to want to be pulled in that way anyway, so that side's gonna be the first one that closes. And then I close this side. So look for a broken tooth on your gear pack, or look for your drive shaft that might have a little bit of slop in it. ½ inch isn't terrible. ½ inch isn't terrible. I have seen where it gets a lot worse than a ½ inch. Now, let's say that you don't have any broken teeth, the drive shaft is perfect, and all the things everybody's going in and out together like it's supposed to, okay? Then if you want to align it, and if you're only ½ inch, that's like, what I would say to do is bring your room in, so it's touching. So I'm going to assume that one side's touching, one side's out ½ inch when it's in. Your question was when it's out, but I'm going to say when it's in. And then at that point, take off the bolt that connects your square drive shaft to the gear pack. Take that bolt out, finish closing your room, okay, and then try to find the hole where the square drive shaft goes through the shaft of the gear pack and try to line that back up again and put the thing back in. And that would be how you would align that, okay? So hope that makes sense. But I want to do a video. I'm going to make a note. I want to do a video because sometimes that system squeaks so terribly, and there is a solution for that, but it is a little bit involved. And so I'm not going to talk about it here because I'm going to go into that. So bug me if you don't see that video come out in the next couple months. Bug me, and I'll try to make that a higher priority because those things do squeak. And it's a little bit involved to fix that. But anyway, moving on. So hope that helps your question on alignment. Moving on. Gary has a question. Gary has a furnace question. Now, he's got an Atwood furnace, which is now, as we all know, Dometic furnace. So when you say Atwood, it's Dometic, and you need to know that because if you go look for parts for an Atwood furnace, you might need to go look for parts for a Dometic furnace. And sometimes they've changed the part numbers on some things. So Just file that away. If you have the Atwood furnace, look for Dometic parts. So the blower, let's see here. The blower comes on, but it will not ignite. So the blower is blowing, but it's not igniting. Okay, now he's given me a list here. I smell no gas. He smells no gas. He hears no clicking. He's replaced the DSI board. He's replaced the relay. He's replaced the igniter. He's replaced the sail switch. He's replaced the limit switch. He's cleaned the orifice, and it's still not working. So wow, you almost have rebuilt your entire furnace, and it's still not working. So let's talk about what happens when the blower comes on, but it will not ignite. The blower comes on, but it will not ignite. If the blower comes on and it will not ignite, that means very specifically, if you watched all my playlists, I don't know how many furnace videos I've got. I've gotten to the point where I don't even make furnace videos anymore because I've covered so much on that playlist. But, so if you get no clicking sound, if you get no igniting, that means that that control board is not happy with, it's like, the circuit needs to come from the thermostat, which is what's going to turn your blower on. But it needs to make it through the sail switch and the high limit thermostat. So even though you replace those things, the control board's not getting that signal. So it's kind of like back on the firing line in Quantico. I did a lot of shooting in Quantico and Pendleton. Love the smell of, what is it? I draw a total blank. I used to work with the armory there. Anyway, I'm drawing a total blank of what that smell is on the rifle ranges. Anyway, calm down there. Okay, so it's on the bug me. It's gonna bug me. Anyway, you're running down the tubes. It's fun. So before we would go live on the firing line, we needed to have all clear on the firing line before we could unload, clear, and lock, or before we could actually send lead down the stream. There were flags that would go up, and everything was good to go. That's how we knew it was safe to send lead down field. So your furnace is along the same lines there. That your furnace, before he opens up the gas valve and introduces gas into that burner, and before he strikes an arc, he wants to make sure that everything's good to go. And the reason you're not hearing the click and the reason you're not getting the ignition is because he's not convinced that he's good to go there. So how do you check that? You're going to need a meter. Okay, so you got your red lead, put your meter on 12 volts DC. You're going to have a black lead and a red lead. Take the black lead, just stick it on the frame, the carcass of the burner, and take your red lead and stick it in the DSI board. You're going to find a blue wire that goes in there. That blue wire is the one that says ready to go, fire in a hole. And so that blue wire is the one that goes through the sail switch. Blue wire goes through the high limit thermostat and comes back and goes into the board. I want to know, or I want you to prove to yourself that you have 12 volts on that blue wire. If you do not have 12 volts on that blue wire, then it will not try to ignite, okay? And so if that's the case, you need to make sure you wired your high limit thermostat correctly, make sure you got the right one. You need to make sure at that point that your sail switch is wired correctly, that you got the right one, and that's a complete circuit, okay? Now, check that. You can email me back or make a comment back to this. I'll work with you on that. Don't have 12 volts on blue, then you can check the things and say, oh, I got this wired wrong, or this is the wrong whatever. If you do have 12 volts on blue and it's still not working, and you've replaced all these parts, oh man, that sounds fun to me. I like those kinds of things. So yeah, reach out to me. Hey guys, if this was helpful to you, I got 30 seconds left. Whoop! If this was helpful, give us a thumb up. That really helps. I'm sure YouTube has some strange algorithm where they look at how many thumb ups and all this kind of stuff. I know I'm always getting some thumb downs. Those don't bother me. You know what those are? Those are probably RV techs that hate that I'm telling you this kind of stuff. So I expect to get that because there's some people that do not want you to know this kind of stuff. They want you to take your broken RV to them and they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. I'm giving it to you for free. Woo! And so yeah, I'm going to get some thumb downs. I got some haters out there. Why do you tell them all this kind of stuff? You shouldn't say that. That's private. That's information that we not. Anyway, I love them. Anyway, woo! So, I love giving you guys this information. It's like trade secrets. There's no secrets about this. All this information's out there. So anyway, guys, if this was helpful to you, if it had value, if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, you could go to Patreon, subscribe. $5 a month for that one is just to help us out. I got 4 people behind me that are helping put this whole 10 minutes with the tech series together. We got new computer because the old computer was so slow. We got new team members online, and so yeah, you're gonna see more videos coming out. We're really excited about that. I got a whole list of. I'm gonna go through a whole training series on a meter. More on electricity. That seems to be a hot topic for people. So anyway, if this was helpful, subscribe, thumb it up, share it. Yeehaw! Join us on Patreon. Anyway, this is Darren. Until the next video.